All right, we're back, and it just doesn't seem fair, Devin. Like I see on the preview monitor, this like crisp camera of both of us, and then I look at this, and I see you look you look fairly good, and I look just distorted to anything. But whatever. Anyway, Devin and I are back. This is NRG Gaming. Thanks for being here. We got the last round of Swiss coming up. We're gonna be starting with Legacy, where we have Doomsday and Painter.
Joe's
Yeah,
just over there in the Minecraft server,
it's not even me. Yeah, I'm not. It's just, I'm just this is someone else sitting here. We just distorted it so you wouldn't be able to tell. All right, here we go. We're underway.
Got some action.
Yeah. So we got a welder off of a great furnace with a pedal. So this welder has got all kinds of food to play with here. And this
I
Doomsday
see.
deck.
I see a pedal and a ritual from David's side. So I'm assuming that this deck can kill on turn one, right? With like pedal or like ritual, Doomsday plus Street Wraith, and then
It's
I'm sure you can probably kill from there.
yeah, it's certainly possible. I don't know. I the Doomsday decks in Legacy over the years have become less and less all in. This one is actually more all in than a lot of the ones I've seen recently. I think Cabal Rituals have kind of waned in popularity in the deck, although I'm not an expert. I haven't played the deck in a very long time.
Yeah, every now and again I see some posts on Twitter from people who play Doomsday and Magic Online, and there's always like sometimes there's some Monastery Mentors, sometimes there's some Murktide regions, Channelers. So it's I agree with you that it does seem like the Doomsday deck has gotten almost more of like a mid range kind of like inverter space when it was good in Pioneer. It's like a
Mhm.
mid range combo deck, but this one is for the most part issuing pretty much all of that. We're basically all in at this point.
All right, so Underground Ponder, Pedal, Personal Tutor for Doomsday, and there's a Dark Ritual in hand, so that is definitely coming off next turn. As far as interaction from Andrew Wolthius, there are 3 copies of Karn, which do interact with the mana artifacts, but there's only a few of those.
You know what I'd love to see here? I'd love to just see Grindstone activate, even if it's not under the combo, just milling the card from the personal tutor.
That would be pretty sick. Uh, there is also Pyroblast, which could have an impact. And here's a Karn, I think, not a version of artwork that I'm used to playing with,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a
that's
Karn.
Karn.
And that's uh, has potential to disrupt things in addition to its static ability. There's Graveyard Hate potential and Tormod's Crypt.
You gotta force this, right? I can't
I
imagine
would
not forcing
think,
it.
I mean, there's not a ton of interaction even in the deck, so yeah, I think you might as well, even if you're unsure,
Yeah.
because there may not Andrew may not have anything else.
Oh, very heads up play. So
Wow,
with the Forcible on the stack, we're gonna activate the welder to weld out the furnace for the pedal and use the pedal to pyroblast. Very, very heads up play from Andrew.
that is disgusting. And David Delgado gets felled by that, so okay. And Andrew's going to tutor up.
Is it a 3 ball?
Uh, okay, if
Trinisphere,
it
yeah.
is a Trinisphere, so he's counting on. I guess you would get that if you're worried that the Karn doesn't live. Otherwise, I feel
Well,
like
I
you could,
mean,
or maybe he's playing. Okay,
because I'm trying to think of what zeros he could get here.
yeah,
Like the Tormod script isn't doing much, and that's the only zero he could get. So I guess
right,
maybe Andrew just thinks the Trinisphere is his best card, and
yeah,
he just wants to get his best card just in case.
yeah. I mean, that makes
But
sense.
it is also kind of awkward because the Doomsday deck does sometimes have duress and Thoughtseize, and if we look at the Doomsday deck here, there are I think there was 3 copies of duress in the main deck. So as well as a Thoughtseize. So if you could run into a discard spell, that could be pretty awkward there. Getting your
Mhm.
best card and then just
Yeah,
suscepting that to the discard spell.
yeah. And like we said, call rituals aren't as common, so there's no real reason to assume that Tormod's Crypt is going to shut off Threshold and make a difference. So here we go. Doomsday from David Delgado. Fetch land uncracked, so that can take 1 card out of the pile, meaning he only has to get through 4 cards instead of 5.
Interesting. Now there's a ponder left over in David's hand. I'm trying to think if he can set up a kill here because So you put a land in the pile, you crack the land to you crack the delta, fetch the land out of the pile, 4 cards left. What are your 3 cards? See, I don't think there's a kill here, right?
Well, I don't think you can. I don't think you can have the ponder into a random 3. I imagine
Yeah.
you need to set up, so you need to know for sure the order. So that would mean that either is the ponder the only card left in hand? Or is that you're just saying there is a ponder in hand?
No, I think Ponder's the only card. Tunneling Cap, chat brings up a good point that we can't even kill through the Karn because the only way that we could potentially cast the
Right.
Oracle is with LED, and
Yeah.
Karn shuts that off. So
Yeah.
it's a good point.
Well, then it's gonna have to be. I mean, there's
Yes,
no real threat here as long as
well,
David can
Trinisphere.
assemble. No, I was gonna say as long as David can assemble 3 mana,
True.
that might be enough.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point. You basically just play Draco until you find the
right.
Oracle, and then just play
Yeah.
land, play Oracle.
Right. And at that point, you'd probably have to do it with no cards left because you can't rely on it not getting pyroblasted. So we did see the cavern. What do
Interesting that
we?
we didn't crack the Delta though. I wonder. So
Yeah.
I guess the theory is you maybe put the Underground Sea as the last card. I'm looking at, okay, there's the island. I was gonna say, yeah. So you put the island on the bottom, which makes sense. That's the last card. So on the last
Mhm.
turn, you fetch for the island. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's cavern, island, oracle, and then I didn't see the rest, but wouldn't be surprised if
Cyclers,
it's
right?
street wraith, right? And then
Yeah. So if you just put, let's say you just put like cavern. So you go cycler, cycler,
yeah,
then, oh wait, cycler, cycler, oracle. 'Cause I'm trying to think if you
Y-
can send then fetch to one card. Hmm.
well, did you say the island was the bottom card?
Yeah, I think you put the
Yeah.
island on the bottom.
So he would have the option then, conceivably, if Andrew tapped out and there was no threat of Pyroblast, maybe he could do it a turn earlier. Otherwise, he could just draw it and then have the. No, it doesn't.
Well, he put a cavern in the pile, so we can play
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cavern for the turn.
Right, right, right.
So we go cycler, cycler into the oracle.
It doesn't seem like
But
this is a win next turn. Oh, he's just going to fire this off
just
immediately.
gonna fetch. Okay.
Okay, so he's definitely just planning on drawing through all the cards. He has the ponder.
So he's gonna ponder
So
here. Okay, that makes sense. I guess there is a chance. I'm trying to think if there's like a chance where like the bottom card is something you need in the top 3 or something. I can't imagine. So is that Island Oracle Cycler? So I imagine the last card's the other Cycler.
right.
Well, that's actually kind of awkward, right? You really can't afford to have the Cycler be the last card because you kind of need to go cycle cycle. I think, right? Hmm. Interesting.
That's only a problem if Andrew's not tapped out, and he's probably going to tap out for Trinisphere. Maybe he will realize that it's not actually um, of tremendous relevance. I mean, if he just gets a grindstone here, we conceivably could just be done.
Yeah, that's true. Because I was thinking that maybe, like, even if you play the cavern and you have a card left in your deck, you can still just, if you have a card left in your deck, you can just get Pyroblast in response to the trigger when you don't have enough devotion in play. But if we're going to tap out here, we don't even need the cavern. So we can just
Mm.
go, cycle, cycle, play land, Oracle with one card left. That should be game.
Yeah, and actually, it's not even a matter of him tapping out because with the Trinisphere down, I mean, no matter what he does, he's
Yeah.
bound to.
Yeah, the Trinisphere makes it
Yeah,
so that he can't even cast the Pyroblast if he had it.
yeah, yeah. So. Uh,
Sure,
Maybe some communication issue here, but
I don't know.
Andrew's like, "Ha, Trinisphere, you're screwed." And David's like, "Well, I kind of planned for that."
Yeah. Yeah, there's the land, play the Oracle, and that'll do it.
Yeah. So as long as there's no pyroblast, the cycler being on the bottom doesn't matter at all. All right. So David Delgado picks up game number 1. Moving to modern. Larry Fields already up a game.
Yep, so
Wow.
this is the Rakdos Evoke deck. Some people like to
Mhm.
call it Scam, which is, I would say a fairly good name for the deck. And we got 5-color Indomitable Creativity on the other side. Um, I feel like I've seen this matchup play out quite a bit, and I do think the Rakdos deck is quite ahead. You have a lot of discard with Grief and Thoughtseize. You have Blood Moon, which not only just makes obviously Blood Moon very good against 5-color deck, but it also shuts off Dwarven Mime, which is very important for that deck.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Okay. So Vinnie Fino from Southern California. So Ivan Espinosa had some friends travel with them over to the event, even if they're not playing together. I wonder if they've got another stop on their way, or maybe they're going to MTG 30 on the way back.
Oh, Vinny's deck list. I want to see. Yeah, there are 0 copies of Leyline of Sanctity. Vinny does have Leyline of the Void. I don't know if that's a card you'd want to bring in. I mean, it shuts off the Undying aspect of the Rakdos deck, but I don't know if that's quite enough. Leyline of Sanctity is the card you would definitely want to,
Right.
stop the Graves, stop the Thoughtseizes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's is actually something that came up recently in Pioneer discussion, as to, okay, someone says like, all right, I think we can fit in some ley lines. And the other person's like, okay, cool. But they weren't talking about the same ley lines because white and black both viable in the format, same as here, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, Vinny is going pretty okay. Vinny's going really deep. I think we're on
5.
at least 4, right? I think
Oh,
4.
4 cards is not very many.
Well, with Ren and 6, you could just keep like,
It's
2
true.
lands, Ren and 6 plus some card, and then Ren and 6 gets you almost undoes all of the mulligans by
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
Unless it gets Thoughtseize, then we're probably done.
Well, how okay. I mean, if you're keeping 4 cards, 2 land, Veil Summer, Ren 6, that would work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, turn 1 Failure Thoughtseize, turn 2 Ren.
Okay, there is a ley. There's in fact 2 ley lines in hand. So one of those is going back. Veil Summer still in hand.
I think it's a Shadow
It is a
Prophecy.
Shadow Prophecy, which means we're looking at just 1 land.
Yeah, so it looks like
So
we're thinking about Land, Leyline, Veil, Shadow Prophecy. Which does make sense because you do expect to get,
yeah,
to get discarded on turn 1, so.
right. And even if you don't, this is still bad. You could cantrip off Veil Summer probably based on anything that Larry's going to do. 2 ley lines on a mold of 4. Holy crap. So
Okay, I
he,
guess he didn't have a green source.
yeah, so he put the veil back. That's amazing. If you're
I don't think
Larry,
I've
though,
ever seen Leyline of
half
the Void, Leyline of
half
the
of
Void,
your
Dwarven
hand,
Mine.
half of your hand is on the table. Sometimes
More
that's
than
really
half.
good.
75%. Around
Oh,
4 cards, right?
I meant before he started the turn,
Oh,
or
yeah,
just a
yeah.
pregame. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, keeping 2 ley lines
Okay,
is
drew land.
wild. Yeah, sure, that helps. I mean,
I
green would be
mean,
nice, but we don't have a red and 6 or a fetch line anyway, so
you find a black source to cast this prophecy. We get 2 cards out of that. I mean, it's realistically doable.
I mean, what do you do when you like you keep your opening 2, put 2 ley lines into play, and you look at your teammate glances over and you're like, it's under control. We got it. Here's my opening
Chat
2
does
card
bring up a
hand.
good point. I'm a little surprised that we kept both ley lines against the
Right.
the Rakdos deck. That one,
I know.
might have rather kept another spell.
Yeah.
Maybe the Veil, even though you can't cast the Veil. Oh, he didn't keep the Shadow Prophecy. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have rather. I think I would have rather have kept Land, Leyline, Prophecy, Bolt.
I mean,
Right?
I'm sure Vinny has a reason, but it's a questionable, at least in my mind, and I imagine everyone that's watching is how are you anticipating your opponent's even gonna get rid of the first ley line? What
Yeah.
does the second one do? And you're on 4 cards. Even if you're keeping a near blank, I mean, leyline seems like it's an actual blank.
Right. Yeah. The second one doesn't accomplish that much because the first one's not going to get removed. I believe we're casting. Oh, we're not going to go for. Okay, playing around Spell Pierce. That makes sense because I think you only have one. Oh no, you got 2 Blood Moons.
Wow.
Oh, the classic.
So all 4 ley lines were in like the top 9 cards of the deck.
Yeah. There's actually only 3 in Vinny's decks. That's all 3 of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
that's
we
all
put one on
3
the
of them.
bottom. I guess we didn't. So right, we didn't put one on the bottom. We just kept both. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, the deck is showing Vinny what it feels about his decision. It's like you like ley lines. All right, eat this. Here's the third one.
All right, that I think we're probably done now.
Yeah. Now the Veil Summer is drawn, and yeah, well,
Could sack the Voidwalker for a ley line, just saying. Never know. I mean, I guess Vinnie does have 3 persist, so I don't think there's a basic swamp though. No, there's no basic swamp.
all right. There's no swamp. All right. Should we make the decision here and just go to a different game?
Legacy just started. There we go.
Legacy's just starting. Let's go to Legacy. This is.
I was gonna say if it was mono green, maybe not, but
I mean, if Vinnie comes back and wins this game, this would be like a historical comeback. But
yeah, we're gonna get laughed at for not watching it.
I mean, we've got our we've got director David. He can keep his eye on it, and if somehow Vinnie gets back in that game, which if he does, these players will probably stop and watch the next game anyway. Watch the game next to them. So
true.
We'll probably be tipped off. Anyway, here we go. Doomsday versus Painter, game 2. Opening on his
So
thoughts.
what do we have on turn 1? So that is that the card in the graveyard. That's a grindstone, right?
I mean, that would make sense. It looks like an artifact, and it got Force of Will pitching Hurkyl's Recall. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably. All right,
thoughts he's taking out Trinisphere?
I think so.
Too many fancy arts for me. I'm not good at this game.
Ooh, well, Goblin Welder is not going to make it into play, which is good for David, as that would undo a lot of the work he's done so far this game.
Yeah, Welder would have been backbreaking. That was a really good draw step for Andrew.
Yes. All right. Well, we have it here officially. One member of chat has volunteered to eat a sock if Vinnie comes back and wins game 2. But
well, we're gonna hold them to it.
Yeah, you can keep your socks on your feet, as Vinnie has already lost.
Oh, darn it. Okay, never mind. The sock dream was alive for a brief moment there.
All right, so Brainstorm into, let's see, there's a Surgical in hand for Andrew Wolthius, and it's going to fire off right now. Reset the top of the deck.
And I believe I think David put a fetch land and a Doomsday back up top. So
David didn't even want the top of the deck.
Yeah,
maybe David wanted
the land. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
but obviously wanted to keep. I guess you could have kept Ritual Doomsday land, but probably better to keep Force, because that's better if you draw any blue card, because then you could just go Ritual Doomsday with Force back up.
Yeah, well, it's also that, or if you have, if you end up with a pass the turn Doomsday pile, you might be able to just draw into a blue card from the pile that you then going to convert the Force.
Yeah. And I believe the card that was pitched there, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's a Hurkyl's, right?
It was,
whiteboarded card?
Yeah, it was.
Got one of those in the sideboard, which I imagine is part of some Doomsday piles. I didn't even notice this. Did you see the creatures in David's sideboard?
I did not look at the deck list very carefully. No. What do we got?
We got 2 opposition agents and 2 Shieldreds. That's kind of hot.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty sick. I don't know that we're going to see it here. Okay, well, something we did see and that Andrew's familiar with is Doomsday with a fetch land on board.
Yeah, interesting that we're not cracking the fetch land again.
Yeah, so but
I wonder if that's like a strategical thing.
I mean, it pulls a turn out of the drawing cards clock, as we saw last game. The opposition agent Shieldred as the cyborg creatures in a Dark Ritual combo deck. That's slightly better than Freaks and Gators from 20 years ago that people used to play. Cyborg
I remember
Tricks
that.
decks, or 15 years ago, whenever that was. Yeah,
I feel like people played Nantuko shit at one point too.
Oh, that I don't remember that, but that makes sense. I mean, lots of things would have been better than the Gator, even though that got the job done sometimes. But opposition agent Shieldred, those are, well, not for this matchup, but cool stuff.
Yeah, we're probably going to see a very similar pile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I highly doubt Andrew's anywhere close to comboing, so have to imagine this game is probably just about wrapped up.
I get firing off the Surgical, but I also could have understood waiting on that for a while and seeing if you could accomplish something later on post Doomsday. Although that doesn't seem even just a shuffle, even though you're not going to be able to ship anything relevant out of the deck probably, but just forcing a shuffle at an opportune time may impact Doomsday progressions once in a while. Although David is clearly
Potentially.
proficient with the deck. David is making these decisions quickly enough that he obviously knows what he's doing. So that may be something that you just isn't effective at any point. And
Yeah,
David
and
knows it and doesn't care. And Andrew may know that as well.
yeah, and we even saw game one, which
Yeah.
is pretty much the exact same thing happened where, Doomsday was cast and then the fetch land was cracked. And at the end of the day, that didn't matter too much. So shuffling maybe does matter sometimes, but especially when you're this far behind,
Mhm.
and maybe only in rare circumstances is where shuffling comes up.
Yeah. And just playing a card out of the deck is obviously valuable. This Force of Will in David's hand is probably, well, we'll see. Likely a useless this game. There's Edge of Autumn, so one cycler drawn. Can Andrew cobble together anything relevant?
Painter. I don't know if we're
All
getting
right.
another turn, but I
Well,
want to pull up the painter deck list. I want to see if there's any moons. I don't think I saw moons when I was looking over the first time. Yeah, not really a lot that Andrew can really put up here.
yeah. So and this Mox isn't even active.
Yep.
And so fetch the second land, 2 cards left, 2 cyclers in hand. So David can draw the deck.
Yep. Cycle.
Yeah.
Sack to
And
cycle.
Andrew knows it. 2 cards.
Yep.
So Cavern and so didn't actually have force backup, but didn't need it. And that will do it. All right. Well, we know you were all asking for another mono green mirror in Pioneer, and we have got it. NRG delivers.
Saved it for the finale.
Yes. Last game of the Swiss. Keep in mind, we have, I will say this, at least one more round tonight. We're going to play at least the quarterfinals tonight. So we got Cure on both sides. We got a sizable creature on both. We have identical devotion, but we have Karn on one side, and that tips the scales probably.
Yeah, as we saw earlier, Karn being able to shut down the combo aspect of the deck, also shutting down the crewing of Sky Sovereign, which means that you need your own Karn to be able to kind of make it into a creature. Yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at now. I have to see if Benji can potentially set up a combo here. There's a lair. Not exactly what Benji's looking for.
No. That seems like, let's see if Cure is, okay, it doesn't look like Cure has been activated, so.
Oh yeah, there's also a very good point chat brings up. There's only one person that has a Nykthos this game, so I have to imagine that person's favorite. If you have both Nykthos and Karn, and your opponent has neither of those,
That's good for you?
that'd be a pretty good spot to be in.
All right. You guys heard it here. Devin O'Donnell dropping knowledge on the format. Have the best
Oh,
cards.
we got a good question for Joe. Joe, what do you think? Which basics do you prefer, Benji's side or Quang's side?
Well, Benji's side look like they're from the correct set. So, Quang's, there aren't many basics where I would just know the set they're from unless they're old, and these look old. Are these the first unset?
Unglued,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I do recognize those, but yeah,
I know you're a big fan of the white bordered lands.
yeah, revised forests. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What better lands could you ask for?
Well, we're getting out the mana counter.
That's a bad sign for Quang Vu,
Yes.
but he's up a game, so
Yeah, good news is Quang gets to get to play game 3, and that's pretty much the only thing that matters most of the time.
all right. Well, while we're waiting for this to play out, so what else can matter? The Voracious Hydra. So if you go first for 3 mana, you can kill their elf, right? If you have your own elf.
Yeah, so Voracious Hydra is very, very good on the play. Now, I'm looking at deck lists. I don't think either player has it. So it looks like David's on the Love Struck Beast, and then Quang is on the general, like, one boat, one curated, one Teferi. Those are like
And
the 3 flex spots, yeah.
sure. Okay. So yeah, and even
But
then,
yeah,
but even then, even if you have the Virtuous Hydra, that doesn't help you if you're going second. Because
correct.
what you need
Yeah.
is something to try and even give you a somewhat better chance when you're going second. And there's just nothing, is there?
No, I mean, I feel like I might have seen people play Hunt the Hunter at one point, which is it's the 1 mana, give your
Yeah.
green creature +2/+2, it fights for the green creature,
Mhm.
where on the draw you can just, like, you play well, I guess not even on the draw, you can't kill their elf on turn 1, you can kill it on turn 2, I guess, but
Right. I mean, that's still before the flashpoint of the really nasty stuff happening. So that's
yeah,
something.
something. But yeah, there's just not a lot
Yeah.
in green to, like, steal the playback, you know? It's not
Yeah.
like where you're playing a black or a red deck where you can play a Fatal Push or a Wild Slash or something
Mhm.
along those lines. You don't have access to that in green, so when these mirror matches are just so very,
Right.
very predicated on the die roll because of that.
Yeah. And even then, you're actually just like if they play elf, you kill the elf. You're not gaining anything. You're just
You're just
you're
not
both.
dying.
Yeah. Right. You're not playing your own mana producer at the same time, which is what you would want to be doing. All right. So here is Meteor Golem that killed something. I don't remember what it was already. I wasn't paying attention, but it's gone.
Yeah, I don't
So I
know.
guess just by virtue of searching up Meteor Golem, that would suggest that Benji's not planning on winning this turn.
Did get the Chain Veil, though. But yeah, looks like we're passing.
Mhm.
And there is a Storm, but there's only 5 lands, and I don't believe there's a land in Quang's hands, so I think that's a Storm. Yeah, okay. We're going to game 3.
Okay. So, one game left to decide who moves on. Benji Solomon, Vinnie Fino, David Delgado, or Quang Vu, Larry Fields, Andrew Wolthius.
And
Thanks
it's
for
everybody's
watching.
favorite matchup.
Yeah, I know. If you're enjoying the coverage, if you're enjoying the matchup, remember to follow. We got a moment here. Let's pop up the rest of the schedule for season 3 while these players shuffle up, because for the first time today, we don't have another game to go to. There you can see it. Next month, there are 2 events. First one, same as this one, except the Sunday event is a Pioneer trial instead of Modern. End of the month, we have our first 10K Pioneer event and a 5K Modern. And then the Showdown in December, 15K Modern, 5K Pioneer. So lots of Modern and Pioneer. That seems to be what players are interested in playing. Legacy, a little bit falling to the wayside. No primary Legacy events this season, but it does show up twice in the team events. So if you're a fan of Legacy, hopefully you got some enjoyment out of today's coverage. Let's head back to the table and see if the green decks are ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick look at. I know sometimes people play like an extra Sky Sovereign in the sideboard to
Mhm.
like to board in, but I don't think we got any of that here. Yeah, just all one of. So I mean, that is the nice thing about playing mono green is you never have to sideboard. That's
I know.
don't have
You
to
just have
think
to
about
remember to
that.
D-sideboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had someone in chat mentioning about was there discussion about Karn being banned in Pioneer? There was leading into the last banning. I didn't personally expect anything to change in Pioneer, but I think there were arguments for Karn and for Fable. Were you in favor of something changing or keeping it the way it was?
It's kind of tough. I think that my general stance is I think the format's okay the way it is. I do I do understand that maybe there's a lot of people that really dislike the way this screen deck plays out, and I kind of understand that.
Mhm.
Um, as far as its power level is concerned, I think that there are things that you can do to kind of hedge for in the matchup. Like I think that there are a wide variety of decks that have a good mono green matchup. Like a lot of the more aggressive style decks, like mono white, the red decks usually have a good matchup. The Rakdos decks are sideboarding somewhere between 7 to 10 cards, so you can give yourself a good green matchup. but it's just it's a lot. It's definitely a
Mhm.
lot. This deck does provide a lot of pressure. It puts you on a very fast clock. It makes you have you have to have the removal spell on turn 1 or turn 2, and sometimes that's not good enough.
Oh,
So,
man.
well,
That was a very, a good start accelerating mana into play for both players. And Quang Vu going first, Storm the Festival, and hits strong with Sky Sovereign and Cavalier, which hits Nykthos. All right, sir. Benji Solomon, what do you have for us?
well, I told you that Quang was in the play, and I told you that Quang was going to win. So I
You
think I
did.
think I like my prediction. I mean, what's Benji's best play here, Cav? Cav's not even close to good enough.
Probably. And
Yeah,
hope you don't die. I mean,
it's just
that's
not even close. The boat's going to kill the elf, so you have to hit back-to-back land drops in order to have your own storm, and that's also predicating that your storm even is remotely close to as good as Quang's was, which it's probably not going to be. And then obviously you could just die this turn. You're actually probably pretty likely to die this turn.
all right. Alternatively, if you're a fan of Benji, Vinnie, and David, the sunlight that was streaming through the window before could come back in force, vaporize the other side of the table, and Benji, Vinnie, and David win by opponent, you know, being unable to continue the match.
Yeah, the cards just all vanish.
Exactly. All right.
This
Nykthos
Nykthos for
resets. Yeah.
7. Untap with Kiora. That's 5. It should be 12 mana. -5 should be 7 left. Oh, we haven't activated the Nykthos yet, so 2 floating. You very very heads up play. Trigger the stack. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So for those of you who maybe not know what's going on, you play the Cavalier with the trigger on the stack. You float mana with the Nykthos because that gives you more devotion off the Cav, and also is better if you hit another Nykthos off of the Cavalier. So just good sequencing.
Mm-hmm. Land drawn off the Kura misses a land there, so that didn't work out well. And well, I think
Missed on
Benji's going to
Nykthos.
get another turn. Yeah, drew the forest and then missed on Nykthos. See, that's the problem. Kang Vu sequence sprung there. He obviously did it backwards. Should have Cavalier first, hit the forest, and then drawn a card. But no.
Yeah, Kiora untap Nykthos, and there's 2 storms in the graveyard. I'd be pretty shocked
Yeah.
if Quang didn't have lethal this turn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's storm number 1 with at least 5 mana floating, unless there's another dice over there, which there might be.
We get Kiora Troll, draw 2 cards. Let's see. Oh, let's see if Quang notices
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Remember how we had the last one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what Devin is referring to there, if you just joined us, we had a player earlier today not realize they could take advantage of the double draw there, but no, Kong's all over it, picks up the 2 cards.
Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, it's not really the most intuitive thing, but
Yeah. All right.
Watching this game, maybe I should just play Mono Green at the RCQ tomorrow, huh? What do you think?
I mean, it's making a convincing case.
It
However, the
is.
problem is that you can't control the die rolls, and you're bound to face some mirrors. I think you told me you played 5 green decks at a previous RCQ.
Yeah, that's true. I did beat all
So
of them.
do you want? Okay, well, yeah, but you weren't playing the mirror. I
No,
mean,
I
do
was
you
not
want to
playing the
play?
mirror.
Do you want to play 5 mirrors of this? Where I mean, even if you win the roll 3 times, if it's that hard to win going second, the mirror, then you're just at that point you're just done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this is something that frightens me as far as the DreamHack event goes. Is like, do I want to play a deck that everyone knows what you got and that you have these matchups that you just can't do anything about? It's not even a bad matchup. It's just predetermined almost. All right,
Right.
and that
Yeah,
is
it's
it.
just the match is over when you roll the dice,
Yeah, and that's no good. Kong Vu, Larry Fields, Andrew Wolthius, take it down. So, um, yeah, exciting match there, but well, overall match anyway. We did see some Doomsday doing some cool stuff, and all right, so though the team advances through. All right, now I will I will tell you, because these breaks have been lengthy, and generally the break before top 8 is, not any less than the other ones have been. We are going to play the quarterfinals tonight, so you can stick around for that. The players are going to be asked if they want to complete the tournament tonight. So if all 8 teams that make top 8 want to continue playing today, then the top 4 in the finals we play tonight, and we won't be getting up super early tomorrow morning. If any of the teams don't want to do that, then top 4 in the finals we play tomorrow morning like usual, leading into the modern 5K. If we do play tonight, the modern 5K will still start at the normal time tomorrow of 10 Eastern. So I guess it's an hour different because we're in a different time zone this month. But yeah, so the modern will start tomorrow at 10 Eastern. Whether we start with coverage of that or we're already in the process of covering the finale of the team event remains to be seen. Either way, when we come back from the break, we're going to have the bracket and then the top 8 round from this event. If you're enjoying the coverage, please follow. And let's see, what have we not done? Let's put the leaderboard back up there because points are on the line on these team events. And some of these players are trying to earn invites into the season-ending champion or the year-ending championship. You can see there the overall leaderboard. The top 4 players on this list at the end of December will qualify for the championship. Right now, that'd be Zoe Riederman and Zach Allen. Zoe with a decent gap over Zach Allen, although 14 points can be made up easily within one really good weekend or over the course of several events. And then Zach with a decent cushion over Will Kowalczyk. And then things tighten up considerably. And you can see on the screen there, Will Kruger would be in, Max McVitie would just miss, and you can see the rest of the players there who are certainly within range of making it into the championship. And let's go ahead and put our qualified players on the screen for you. You can see who's already earned a slot. And you can see them and how they qualified there. So those players will be at the end of the year championship who will join them. Maybe some people you saw on the screen today. We know Zoe Riederman is close, but 4 events to go. Anyway, all right. So we're going to step away. We will be back for the top 8 round in maybe 15 minutes. So hopefully you choose to stick with us. Thanks for being here. This is NRG Gaming. We'll be back.